It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show! Hey everybody, it's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey gang.
And Les Webster.
Hello all.
How are you guys doing?
Well, and you?
Doing okay. How are you doing, Mikey?
I'm good.
Hope everybody out there is having a good week and y'all are doing alright. So, what's been going on in your part of the galaxy?
Well, I've found yet another way to waste a bunch of time.
Woohoo!
And I get to blame my friend Bill for this, as I get to do a lot of times. But in this particular case, he has gotten me hooked on a game on my phone, which is called Trivia Crack. And it is essentially... It's set
Crack
up
for a trivia buff.
It's yeah. Well,
Oh.
I was going to get a little more technical than that, but yeah.
Okay.
It's sort of kind of a setup like Trivial Pursuit, and you're basically playing games against people, and it actually links through Facebook. So if you don't have a smartphone, you can play it on Facebook, and it's pretty much identical. So it picks out of you can pick out of your Facebook friends, and I don't necessarily have a ton of Facebook friends as being more of a Twitter person, but I have enough to manage to waste probably an hour a day on this silly thing. It's being a bit of a trivia buff. For me, it's quite a bit of fun, but I mean, I'm sure I'll burn out on it at some point just because I'm doing it so much. But yeah, what the hell? It's fun for the moment.
Cool. Alrighty, Les, what about you?
I have a question.
Okay.
If you're playing it on Twitter, can you hook up with somebody on Facebook?
No,
and play?
I'm playing it on Facebook. Well, I actually have downloaded the app onto my phone, which also connects to Facebook, so I can do it either way and have before. But yeah, so it's connecting on Facebook, not Twitter.
That's kind of cool.
Yep.
Thanks. I may have to look into that myself.
So you can do it even without a smartphone.
Because I'm not any smarter than my phone, so as far as what I've got going or had going, pretty much a big bag of nothing. It's just a quiet weekend.
For a holiday weekend, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right?
No, I don't think so. It's nice just to kind of shut down, watch a little football.
Yeah, that was quite an exciting game. What was that, Sunday night? The Texas Notre Dame game? I don't usually get into college football, but that was pretty exciting.
I did not watch that one. Other things were going on, so.
Okay.
How about you, Thomas?
Well, I finished up my run on the Hey Mo, Hey Dad, which was kind of interesting. A lot of it I had known, but some of it I didn't. I really wish this thing would be put out on DVD. I mean, I don't know if it is or not, but it's for a hardcore fan. I think they would really like this docu-series. So it was really cool. And I did a little marathon watching. The El Rey Network was doing the Chris Reeve Superman, all 4 movies. So I kind of stopped down watched that. It had been a long time since I've watched 3 and 4, and I thought it was about time that I would see them again and see if things had changed a little bit. Well, 4 had the noblest of intentions. It just had a really bad script and had no budget for special effects. So the logic of the script was just god awful. The problem with three was pretty much a Richard Pryor vehicle that just happened to have Superman in it. That's essentially what it was.
Pretty much, yes.
And watching two, first time I've seen the theatrical cut in a long time. I had been kind of used to seeing the Richard Donner cut, which if y'all have not seen that version, I highly recommend it. Things make a little bit more sense since it was the original script, and it's just a very long, sad story what happened with that film. But it was really cool to see Chris as Superman. He did such a great job.
He was really believable as both Clark and Kal-El. I thought the way he handled his expressions, his body language, his movements were just spot on. It's what I had expected Superman to be pictured as. I just enjoyed his stuff really, and I recommend it too.
He made him look like two different characters. He really did.
It's amazing what you can do when you can act a little, huh?
I mean, it's not just the glasses and then changing the hair. He stooped a little bit, and of course, he altered the voice, and like Les said, the mannerisms and all that.
Mm-hmm.
In one, when he shows up for his date with Lois, he has just flown her around the city as Superman.
Mm-hmm.
But when she is out of the room, and he is on the verge of telling her who he is.
Oh yeah.
He
straightens up, takes off the glasses and everything. Yep.
And then when she starts to come back, he puts the glasses on, he slumps his shoulders a bit, and it's a different person.
Mm-hmm.
The Man of Steel chickens out.
Yes.
And it's totally believable too. That's the beauty of it, is he really sold it.
Yes. And by the way, Hey Mo, Hey Dad is on DVD, and it is available.
I'd recommend it.
And speaking of television shows, there was a program on this past weekend called Building Star Trek, which I recommend. It was a 2-hour documentary on the creation of, actually what they were doing was covering the restoration of the Enterprise model as it was going in to be a showcase of an exhibit. Another place had the original captain's chair. They were setting it up as a focal point of their exhibit. So if you get a chance, it's a fun one to watch too.
Very cool. Yeah, the anniversary. It's the 50th anniversary of the show.
Yep, it is.
This week.
I believe I heard Thursday.
Yep.
I believe so.
Yes, because BBC America is actually showing the first 2 seasons of the original series.
Wow.
Cool.
Uncut.
I wonder if they'll start with the Pike episode.
Yeah, I believe they are.
Not what they chopped and made into the regular series, but
the original pilot. Yeah,
the first pilot.
That'd be fun. Be good to see again.
Cool. All right. Sounds like fun. Let's go ahead and get into this week's topic. It had come to my attention, and I forgot where I saw it, but this year marks the 20th anniversary of the debut of, I guess you'd call it imprint. It was a very limited imprint called Amalgam Comics. And for those who are not aware of what Amalgam Comics was, it was a team-up between DC and Marvel. It came about of a big crossover between the two companies, and where basically both universes merged and characters merged. And so with Amalgam, it was brand new books with characters that were somewhat familiar, but they had been merged together, hence Amalgam. It was so popular that they brought it back the following year and did another series of books. And then it's disappeared, and there hadn't been anything about it ever again. But every once in a while, you hear, I see stuff on the internet of people just really wishing this would come back, and I'm one of them. I kind of find it fun because the characters were so familiar, yet they were so different. Perfect example. One of the most popular ones was Dark Claw.
Go figure.
Go figure, which was a combination of Batman and Wolverine.
Each company's most popular character at the time.
But there were several of them that were really cool. Les, you remember Amalgam? What were your thoughts of it?
I was excited about Amalgam. I thought it was such a good idea. This, according to the write-up, this was during the time of DC and Marvel doing their DC versus Marvel miniseries too.
Mm-hmm.
But to turn around and do these crossbreedings of characters, I thought was just a great idea because you do get the similarities of the characters in both universes, yet, like you said, there was just enough difference in them that made them really exciting. They had, 12 issues? The first run?
I think so.
And then ended up with the second crossover. And then, in fact, they have a third miniseries. So it's fun to try to track these down. And the original 12 can be found in collections. The characters in these, though, were so well devised. Like you said, you had Dark Claw, you had Super Soldier with Captain America and Superman. As a result, I could see them joining up in various manners, and some of the storylines they did join up. And that even enticed me more to encourage the two publishers to try something even more. And I'm sorry that they quit after the third set. I don't know if it was because the titles were not making money. I think they were, because you did have two major publishers pulling this one off. I just would like to see this try again. How about you, Mike?
Well, see, this is where it gets fun because this was in kind of one of my dead zones. I wasn't really paying attention to comics at the time, but that doesn't mean I did not hear about it, and it doesn't mean I haven't heard about it since. And the thing to kind of give a sideways answer to something you threw out there, Les, I wonder if they decided not to do any more. Well, one, because Marvel it wasn't much longer before Marvel really started to hit the financial skids. Am I wrong? It wasn't. It was like late '90s when they started getting
It
in
was
trouble.
it was in the '90s where they declared bankruptcy. So
Right.
yeah.
So A, there's part of your deal. But B, given the way they set this up and the way they did this, they would have invested an awful lot of effort into it. So honestly, because they went through and did backgrounds for everything. I mean, they even went so far as to create letters pages with fake letters for these things.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, that's just an awful lot of background work. So I mean, they may have made some money, like you said, but honestly, for them to break even on these things, they would have had to make a ton of money just because of all the work they were putting into it and all I guess, I don't know, they're probably putting a lot of pressure on the writers and artists to do all of this in addition to the stuff that they're already doing because Unless I'm mistaken, they did not stop putting out their regular books while they were doing this.
No, I don't think
No,
so.
So
everything else was being published, yes.
right, so they've kind of ramped up their production. I mean, they've practically doubled their production for that amount of time. So, I mean, it's going to have to sell a lot of copies to make up for that. And so I could see where it might not be feasible to do, at least not to do it that way. There might be a different way to pull it off if they sat down and thought about it.
I can believe that, yeah.
Or if some enterprising young podcasters gave them a way to do it. I don't know.
That would be fun.
I want a cut.
Yeah, but I don't want the blame either.
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, no strings. There should be no strings.
Well, Thomas, the origin of the amalgam was something that really caught my eye. You want to explain part of that?
Well, I'm trying to remember. It was part of it. Like you said, it was a DC versus Marvel event. But I'm trying to remember. There was some guy who happened to be in both universes that was kind of overseeing some of it, I believe. If I'm trying to do this from memory because I can't. It's been a long, long time.
Well, the thing I read said that basically they created physical incarnations of the universes, and they called them the Brothers. And they, in order to keep the brothers from destroying each other, they had to kind of transport back and forth and battle between the universes to keep the brothers occupied or distracted or whatever. And so once that had gone on long enough, it was difficult to separate the two universes, and so they ended up creating a mixed universe that was the Amalgam universe.
Okay.
And so the ideas behind the characters that I don't want to say they weren't necessarily cloned, but they were sort of I kind of think of it in terms of like photocopied together and superimposed over each other to kind of occupy this mixed universe. Like the traits of like Batman and Wolverine sort of blended together to make Dark Claw, and then you've got Cap and Superman making Super Soldier, and so on and so forth. That is what I read and understood.
Yeah, that's starting to sound familiar. But I was remembering that I thought there was some guy who happened to be pounced in between, but I may be thinking of something else. So yeah.
And that was Access. The character's name was Access.
Okay.
And he was able to go from universe to universe.
I forgot about the whole thing with the brothers, but I remembered Access to some degree, a little bit of degree. It has been 20 years.
Well, there is that, yeah.
Right. See, I have the luxury of having actually done homework over the last day or two, so.
Oh, I could have done that too. But.
Yeah, well, you could have, but you didn't, and it's cool.
Now,
you actually got to enjoy the stories. I have not done that, so.
And as Mike said, after the fighting between DC and Marvel, as I read here, the Spectre and the Living Tribunal created the amalgamated universe, and the only people that could or that knew about the merge were Access and a character called Dr. Strangefate. They had a fight or two themselves to either or with each other to reverse or preserve the change. And to me, that was kind of a minor portion. But the amalgamated gave you so many new characters that I was blown away with the first 12 issues. And I believe I'm going to probably see if I can locate the collections by both DC and Marvel to to have on the shelf. That would be the first two runs right there.
I have a question.
Okay.
Had either publisher done anything like a summer event like this before this?
They had done crossovers before. One of
Yeah.
their biggest was the Teen Titans and the X-Men. And wasn't that George Perez that did the artwork on that one, Thomas?
I was
That's
thinking
what
it was. I was thinking it was Simonson. Walt Simonson.
Okay.
Was he still doing X-Men at that point? Or had he left already by 96 or whenever that was?
I knew he was still around for Thor. I don't remember if he was it for X-Men at the time.
But there had been plenty of crossovers.
Yeah, but had there been any actual summer events like they do every year now? I'm wondering if maybe this was kind of the beginning of that.
Now Marvel would do something usually. I remember in the late '80s or so, there was either something with the X-Men doing some kind of big event, or there would be something in the annuals. And I think DC kind of did something similar in the annuals. But unless I'm remembering wrong, because I remember the whole thing with Armageddon 2001, which was which is in 90. That was in 91, and that took place in all the annuals. So. Okay. So doing something during the summer wasn't unexpected.
I believe that Marvel and DC didn't do a lot of crossovers. I thought they were very limited.
Yeah, it was usually just like a one shot or maybe two.
Yes.
At the most, I don't think there was anything really more than that.
And back then, there weren't really a whole lot of other publishers going around.
No, you had Dark Horse, and that was about the extent at that time.
Dark Horse, Image was just starting up. Other than that, they were all pretty kind of small. I mean Archie, but beyond that,
So there wasn't really anybody else to do crossovers with. Unlike now, you could pull off some really fun stuff, and there have been some in the last few years. I mean, the whole Conan Red Sonja thing pops into my head.
Yeah.
Conan is a Dark Horse property, and Red Sonja belongs to Dynamite. So that book that they did, it was a crossover.
Mm-hmm.
And just recently was Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, crossovers are a little more common now, and publishers are happier to do them. There isn't I don't know if it was animosity with Marvel and DC, or if it was just at that time they didn't have a base to even try it. But now it's, a phone call away to get something started.
I don't. Well, you say that. When's the last time Marvel and DC have done something together? It's been a while. It's been. Now DC would be willing to do anything with, they're doing Gotham Academy Lumberjanes with Boom, and stuff like that, but there really hadn't been anything between Marvel and DC.
Right, but on top of that, they're also making a big point of signing a bunch of exclusive creators.
Yeah.
They're locking people down so that they won't go work anywhere else.
Right. So
that doesn't sound like a very inviting stance to take if you're trying to get something like that rolling.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Just a bit of trivia. Y'all know what the first DC Marvel team-up book was?
It was a title called Og and Uk, and it dates to cave paintings from 11,000 BC.
Very, very good right off the bat. Wow.
Was
BS
it the
right off.
first one Spider-Man, Superman? Or was it Batman, Hulk?
Well, as in characters crossing over, yes, the first one was Superman, Spider-Man, but it was not the first time the two publishers teamed up.
Hmm.
Why do I get the feeling that my guess was closer in time frame than Les's?
Uh,
I'm kidding.
okay, the answer is Wizard of Oz adaptation.
Really? When?
About
One of the
70.
Golden Treasury or something?
Yeah, the Treasury. Yeah. It was like 75, 76.
Oh, neat.
The story is that DC was going to do their version, and Marvel was actually working on it at the same time, and they said, well, let's just get together, let's do this, and let's see what happens.
Who was involved with that then?
Uh, Roy Thomas did the script, and I believe it was John Mishima did the art. It was early to mid 70s.
Cool.
I remember seeing it, but I don't remember seeing it since. It must be one of those that's hoarded now.
I don't know if I still have my copy or not. I'm gonna have to look when we finish up, see if I've still got my copy. But yeah, I remember getting that, but it wasn't until oh sometime later that I realized that both logos were on the cover. They're like, oh, okay,
Cool.
yep,
That is cool.
I like trivia, obviously.
woohoo, yeah. I just fed your addiction there, man.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Haven't come across that one in Trivia Crack yet.
Well, just in case.
Still too busy missing questions about freaking Lady Gaga and shit. Anyway, I digress.
I was gonna say something, do an in joke, but nah, I'm gonna move on.
Do
um,
it. Do it. Do it.
Something about my poker face. Are you gonna make a joke about that or something? I don't
no, I was gonna mention something about be careful of flashing sevens and all that.
know. Oh, that one.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah, I have that problem on my smartphone. It doesn't flash at me. It is bright and colorful, but it doesn't flash at me.
Okay, well that's good. That's good. And do you use your own name or do you have a code name for this game?
No, it's got my name on Facebook, which is my normal name.
Okay, well, yeah, of course. All right. Okay. Les, did you have a favorite book? Was there one that kind of stood out to you?
Wow. Uh, I think maybe Bullets and Bracelets,
Okay.
just because they contain so many different items and different pairings right there. They were, all of them were great reads, and each one of them had probably 8 or more mashed characters
Mm-hmm.
to create the new stuff. So I was pretty impressed.
That one was written by John Ostrander.
Woohoo!
Was it?
Yep. So there you go.
There you go.
There I go.
I think one of my, there were so many good ones. I think the one that really stood out to me was Challengers of the Fantastic, which obviously was a combination of Fantastic Four and Challengers of the Unknown, which was kind of a no-brainer for them to be merged together since they were so similar anyway. But man, Spider Boy was fun.
See, that's the great thing about something like this is you can actually pull together two fairly different characters if there's one common theme. You
Mm-hmm.
can bring them together. I mean, for my money, that's where Super Soldier would be really interesting. The whole Captain America and Superman thing, because I mean, basically, they're really different types of heroes, but they got that Boy Scout thing going on.
Yeah.
And as long as you can latch onto something like that, you can go totally nuts with everything else. So that to me, that one would be an interesting one to take a look at.
Iron Lantern was interesting, and it had a slew of people as characters. And the thing about these titles was, even if it was a character you from either the DC or Marvel universe that you did not care for, you put them in the Amalgam, and they were beyond expectation. They just had a great vibe about them.
Well, Speed Demon, which was Flash and Ghost Rider. I mean, that's not a combination I would have thought of, but it was. I remember it being a rather interesting book.
See, the one that strikes me as that would be just weird enough to be interesting is Lobo the Duck. Lobo the Duck.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why your eyes would go that direction.
I mean, come on.
Oh, you're right.
That's got to be fun. I mean, if nothing else, it's got to be a glorious train wreck. Even if it sucks, it's a train wreck, and it's a great one. I can't imagine it did suck. I mean, clearly they put a lot of work into these things.
Yes, they did. You can go right down the list and find great characters. Magneto and the Magnetic Men, I think, was fun, because you did take a lot of the metal men and patch them with Marvel characters. Is it antimony? The metal? It was according to the right, it was the amalgamation of DC's Platinum and Marvel's Scarlet Witch and Patsy Walker. So you have so many different ways that this character could go.
Yeah.
And Magneto, who went by the name of Eric Magnus, was an amalgamation of Will Magnus of DC and Marvel's Eric Lyncher. Of course, Magneto for the Marvel titles.
Right.
Let me ask you this, Thomas. Was there anybody that you didn't care for? Do you recall anybody that a character that wasn't exactly what you wanted?
Wow. I don't remember. Granted, it's been a while, so I may feel differently now. But the Generation Hex, I didn't really care for.
Oh wow.
But that was, like I said, it's been a while. What about you?
I guess the one that stands out for me was the amalgamation of Deadshot and Bullseye.
Okay.
And that Deadeye was his name. But those are two characters that I'm not really fond of to begin with. But then when you turn around and give me something like Dr. Doomsday, I was going, okay, this is pretty cool. You've got Dr. Doom and the character Doomsday right there. I'd send it to you, Mike, but since you haven't read it, it's...
No, but I am enjoying just looking at the character list.
Okay. Yes. You're seeing some nice stuff there.
It's yeah. There's some crazy stuff in here.
I kind of like Captain Marvel, which was Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel. Like that's kind of a no-brainer, but
yeah. There are some that it just looks like they were just playing on the names a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this is... I'm sorry?
I have to think that Steve Trevor as the Punisher has got to be interesting.
And obviously this is before Marvel decided that they were going to use the name Marvel and take control of it. to have Captain Marvel as William Billy Marvell.
I always thought it was kind of funny on JLX where they had Oliver Queen be Goliath and then Hawkeye would actually be Hawkeye. I guess that's kind of a switch since Clint was Goliath at one point in the main Marvel books. But
He
was
was?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I did not know that.
Yeah, during the late 60s, early 70s for a short period of time.
Well, there you go.
Well, there you go.
We're always learning stuff around here.
Yay! Learning's fun.
If you wouldn't mind, can you attach these sites to the website or something so people can take a look at them themselves?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the Wikipedia
As am
pages
I.
for it. So yeah, we can link those in the show notes, no problem.
I think that might be well worth the time. Then people can see that we're not just talking through our hat.
Well, any more than normal anyway.
Well, right, exactly.
Very cool. Yeah, I would love to see this come back in some form or fashion, but don't think it's going to happen.
Probably not, and that's kind of a shame too. It's a pity they can't find a way to get along well enough to do something like this again. Even if they, honestly, even if they half-ass it a little and don't put in quite so much work on it, it could still be fun. Just like do a modernized version of the same thing, you know? How bad would that be?
Oh, yeah. What about a television program? With not necessarily everybody, but just take somebody, even if it was Lobo the Duck, and said, okay, we're going to do a television program based on this. The way they could script the movements, I think would be a lot of fun to watch. I think they could probably do something like Super Soldier or Dark Claw. They may even be able to do something as an animated, put it out there. This was also, was this after the first Batman Adventures cartoons? I think it was.
Yeah, well, because Batman, the animated series, debuted like in 92. And this is the 20th anniversary of Amalgam, so you're talking 96, so yeah.
Okay. So if you went to that style, I could see them doing these Amalgam shows pulled from the titles of the issues that they put out.
Well, in the second wave of books, The Legend of Darklaw, that was drawn in the animated style.
Yes, that I remember too.
Well, who knows?
We can only hope right now.
Yeah, definitely.
It could be done. It's just a matter of whether they will choose to, whether they think they can make any money at it.
With the new characters they have, they could really expand on these. They could run a whole new series, and I think it would be successful.
Yeah.
Let's start with a 6-issue series. Each publisher do 3 comics and put it out there. Because you put Deadshot and Deadpool, or I'm sorry, Deathstroke and Deadpool as Deathpool. Somebody that's serious, but that also is very light in the way he handles the cases he has. I think that there are enough new characters that they could pull this stuff off.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to rehash what you've already established. Just toss something else out there and see if it sticks to the wall.
Right. You're already in the middle of building this new pantheon of characters. I mean, even if some of them are the same with the movies, there's still differences, and so they're effectively new characters. Why not? Play with some different combinations this time or something. run with it.
You have already established the universe. You don't have to go much further past that, other than, like we say, just make some new characters and let's forge ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good to me.
Are there any characters you guys would like to see as a MASH?
I don't know. I would have to think about that.
This might even be too close together, but for some reason it just popped into my head. How about Poison Ivy and Swamp Thing? Oh wait, no, they're both DC. Never mind. Damn it. That was brilliant. Too bad it sucked.
But you do have Man Thing.
There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. You have Lady Thing. I don't know what you would call her.
Poison Thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Man Ivy. I don't know.
I think it might be better to get away from breaking up the names that they have. Just give them different names. Call them something else. You know. You don't almost have to with that combination. But
yeah.
You can combine Harley Quinn and Sue Storm. That would make Fantastic Four a whole lot more interesting. If it were still a Fantastic Four book, of course. But it's weird. I can actually hear Tom staring me down at this point.
I'm not staring you down. No, I'm just lamenting that we don't have a Fantastic Four book. But oh well.
Sorry, it was too soon to make that. I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's all right.
Scraping the scab off of that wound.
Looking at this list, DC has already done an amalgamation by changing a storyline during the New 52 when they took Dick Grayson and put him as an agent, similar to what during Amalgam they did with Bruce Wayne, making him an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it wasn't S.H.I.E.L.D. that Grayson went to, but just the idea of pulling this character and making him into a secret agent, rather than just swinging about as Nightwing, which I enjoy also.
Yeah, but I'm thinking that was a little bit more to capitalize on like the Jason Bourne films and that kind of stuff, which I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent, but yeah, I mean, yeah, the parallels are. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah.
The parallels are such that maybe it wasn't such a bad idea in the first place. If we're actually, whether it's intentional or not, going back to it.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yep. Just saying.
Who's just saying?
We're all just saying.
Oh, okay, thanks.
But mostly I'm just saying. No.
All right. Any final thoughts before we close this off and move on to our weekly picks?
I think I'm capped.
No, just
other than we would like to see this come back, but
yeah, just anybody, if one of you Marvel or DC higher ups is listening to this, give us a call. We'll throw ideas at you.
Mm-hmm.
You can even come on the show. We'll talk about it.
Mm-hmm. You good, Les?
I'm good. Yes, I agree with you guys. I would like to see something come about again. It's time. 20 years is long enough. Let's do it.
Well, you heard him.
Mm-hmm. What he said.
And what he said. So. Dope. Alrighty. So when we come back, we will do our weekly picks. And we are back. It's time for weekly picks, and leading off is Les.
For my first pick, this is going to be a collection. It is Hawaiian Dick, Screaming Black Thunder. This is the third volume in the Hawaiian Dick series. This one is put out by Image and written by B. Clay Moore, with art by Shane White, Sean Crystal, and Scott Chandler. If you're a fan of noir or of detective comics, this is another collection I do recommend. You've probably heard me talk about the current Hawaiian Dick story, which is close to wrapping up now. This one, Screaming Black Thunder, collects the miniseries of the same name for the first time, which makes me real happy. The story is in 1954, Hawaii. Bird, the main character, and his companions team up with the World War II Flying Ace group, Black Thunder. They do so to confront long buried ghosts from the war. And you think about it, this is only staged 9 years after the end of World War II. So once again, if you are a fan of detective and or noir, this is a really good series to get into, and this is a positive series to start with.
Cool.
Sounds like fun.
Yep. Mikey, you're up.
I'm up. I got a fun one too. My first one is a Dark Horse book, and it is entitled Resident Alien: The Man with No Name, and this is a number 1.
Yay.
The Resident Alien series has been around for a little while. It is done by Peter Hogan and Steve Parkhouse, and the main character Harry is an alien, and this is not a spoiler or anything. He's been an alien pretty much the whole time, but he's essentially he got stranded on Earth while he was doing kind of a recon mission. And so he is posing as a doctor in a small town in like rural Washington. And there have been, oh man, I want to say 4 or 5 like little miniseries dealing with Harry and his various adventures. And essentially he does kind of detective work type stuff on the side. He's posing as a doctor, so usually it ends up being a little bit of an ME thing. There's a little bit of a mystery to solve, and they're very nicely done. They're nicely written. They're well drawn. And this time, somebody may finally be onto him. The government may have actually figured out that he's not really just a small town doctor. That he might actually be an alien. So it will be interesting to see where they take us with this one.
I've really enjoyed these series of stories. You do have the whole sci-fi thing, but you also have the kind of I don't want to say, I guess, not exactly a police procedural story, but it's a mystery.
Well, yeah, the phrase they use is murder mystery.
Okay.
So
And
that's fair.
I've enjoyed them. They've been great.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to read this next one.
Mm-hmm.
I know
I've
Les
enjoyed these too.
Yeah.
I have enjoyed these, and even in having Steve Parkhouse as part of the creative group is so much fun because he did a series. I'm going to go off the track a bit. He did a series with Alan Moore in I want to say the 80s. Yeah, the 80s, called The Bo Jeffries Saga. That is a book that you can get as collected also. It's like 12 issues or something that appeared in various comics over the years. And Bo Jeffries is a group of monsters. And I guarantee you, Mike, you would enjoy this because it is hilarious. It is just so well written, and the characters are so goofy, but your heart goes out to them.
Wait, who did you say wrote this?
Alan Moore. It was published.
That is not the description of an Alan Moore book that I would have expected.
No. He really took a left turn to create this comedy, but you just love the characters. They're that funny and so much fun. But with Parkhouse doing Resident Alien, it's a great coup for the comic world to have him doing this. Resident Alien has been strong every time it's been through the publishing. So I am too, and looking forward to this one.
Cool. That was a good pick then.
Yay!
Oh, by far, yeah.
My first pick is a collection. It is from Marvel, and it is the Punisher War Journal. And this is collecting the series from the late 80s, 1988 to 89, to be more specific. With the writing was by Mike Baron and Carl Potts, and Potts also supplied the art. This was the series that I read when it came out. I didn't really read the main Punisher stories. I'm not exactly a big Punisher fan, but I've enjoyed Mike Baron's writing over the years, and there was something about his take of Frank Castle that I was able to enjoy. So it would be nice to go back and check these out again and see how well they hold up, and if I've just never been a big Punisher fan, but it was just something about that time and this team that it kind of called to me. So
I have the same reaction, Thomas. I was not a fan of the regular book, but this one appealed to me for some reason, and I stayed with it for quite some time. It was a fun read.
yep, it's going to be interesting to see if it still reads that well. I think it will. I mean, good stories are good stories no matter when they come out. Les, what's your second choice?
My second is from IDW. This is Richard Matheson, Master of Terror. Richard Matheson is a prolific writer. He's done some classic things which have become movies as well as these comic book adaptations. In this, Steve Niles and Elman Brown bring you I Am Legend, which has been done 4 times or 5 times now in a movie as a movie. First one was Last Man on Earth, and then of course you had Omega Man.
Yeah.
The latest one is I Am Legend, and it's a great story. And I have seen several of these comics when they were first published. This is a collection. The second story is Duel by Chris Ryle and Rara Garnes. This I'm not as familiar with. Hell House, the third one, I do know of. Ian Edgington and Simon Fraser did this one. The last story in the group by Ted Adams and Mark Torres is one of my favorites, The Shrinking Man, which was also made into a movie, The Incredible Shrinking Man, and was used as a basis for a parody of The Incredible Shrinking Woman. So,
wow, we got Lily Tomlin into a podcast. Wow.
who'd have thunk it? But yes, I recommend this one too. I'm looking forward to picking up a copy of it myself. Mike?
I'm next. My second pick, I'm sticking with Dark Horse this week, is Prometheus, Life and Death #4. Okay. No, Prometheus was not the greatest movie in the world. That does not mean there were not some interesting ideas in there. And this is actually part of the Life and Death series is actually a larger series, which is being helmed up by our boy Dan Abnett.
Yep.
Who we would love to have on the show sometime. But anyway, and so it spans across. There's some Alien chapters to it. There's obviously the Prometheus chapters. I believe there's going to be some Predator chapters, if there have not been already. I get mixed up because there's another Predator book going on that's kind of confusing me at the moment. But so this is episode 4 or issue 4 of the Prometheus section here. And what we basically got is a group of colonial marines were checking out weird signals from a planet and ended up getting chased by some predators into this alien ship, which turned out to be turned out to belong to the what are those guys called? The Prometheus
Engineers?
guys. Engineers, yeah. It was an engineer ship, and so they attempted to basically steal the engineer ship, and almost succeeded. The engineer woke up and took control and took them to another planet, where they have run into a couple of human survivors there, and they're now trying to get off of that planet to get back home. And the last, if I remember correctly, they were considering trying to steal the engineer ship again. But so this issue ought to be a lot of fun. I expect there will be a lot more combat in this one.
Yes, let's steal the ship because it worked so well the first time.
Well, if they can do it without the engineer on board this time, that's the thing. They didn't know the engineer was there. He just sort of woke up. It was it's not a great plan, but they don't really have a lot of other options. Like I said, there have been a couple of a group of humans and a predator stranded on this planet that they landed on for quite some months, and so there's no other way off of this rock. But anyway, it's a large scale story, which I think is cool, and I'm excited to see how they pull it all together and where the story goes next.
Right. It has been a pretty cool little mini series, and I agree with you. I kind of like the overall big picture that it's presenting, and what the previous mini series, because I mean this is not the first time they've tried to tie up Prometheus and aliens and predators all in one big story arc. Mm-hmm. So they've done a pretty good job so far. So
yeah, it's been a really good read so far.
Okay, so it's up to me now. My second choice is from IDW Publishing, and it is a artist edition. This happens to be Jack Kirby's Commandy Volume 2. For those of you who are not aware of artist editions, it is a collection of scans of original art from, it's usually complete story arcs, or not story arcs, but story books, issues. It may not be all the issues in a row, and it's presented in the original size, which is, what do you say, Les? 18 by 24 or something like that?
Yeah, close to that, yeah.
Somewhere around that. And like I said, it's the original art, so you'll see where there's notes. You'll see whiteout splotches where they've gone back and fixed things, and it's really cool to actually look at these. And I'm a big Kirby fan, and Commandy I think is a very underrated book. I would really love to see all of that collected, the stories collected. I know there's been a couple of volumes, hardcovers, but Volume 1 has been out of print for years, and I guess there's just not enough of a demand to reprint this, so this is the next best thing. And the Volume 2 collects issues 11 through 16, and I do have Volume 1, and it was a real treat to look at it when it came in. I know Les was there when I first opened it up, and I was doing my best not to have him drool over my book.
Yeah, I had to wear a bib.
I mean, just the two-page gatefold that showed Commandy in the life raft rowing, and it's New York, and you see the Statue of Liberty, but I mean, of course it's been after the apocalypse and all that. So, and this is like I said, it's 18 by 24, and this is a 2-page, one image, and it was so striking. I'm interested in seeing this one as well. I don't have a lot of the artist editions. I have this, and then I have one other. There's not for a lack of wanting. There's been some good ones. There's been some good ones out there, but some of them unfortunately are sold out, and of course there's always an issue of price, but it's worth it.
Right. It's not that it's not worth it. It's that you may not necessarily have that kind of cash on you at the time.
Yep, exactly.
Which, hey, we all have that problem.
Yep, exactly. Cool. Very nice group of picks there, I think.
I'm going to throw an honorable mention in here real quick on you.
Sure. Go right ahead.
Which I didn't mention before because I'm a jerk. But I just want to at least point out that Lady Killer 2, issue 2, is coming out this week as well.
Cool.
And I know we've talked about that before.
Oh, yeah. Lady Killer's gotten some love from this podcast. Okay.
I, too, am looking for that one.
All right. Any special mentions before we start wrapping up this episode?
Nothing springs to mind.
Okay.
Nothing here.
Nothing that I can think of at this time. Alrighty. Go ahead and start giving our shout outs. First of all, Manny the Martyr. Thank you guys for the awesome music that we use for our credits. They're actually, and here's a special mention. Their last performance of the years is coming up. It's within the next week. But you check out our show notes. There will be a link to their page, and you can check them out. And if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I highly recommend you go check them out live. You'll be in for a treat. Thank you, guys. Second shout out to our Pottern family. Always thank them for spreading the word of the fellowship. Great group of people who put on some pretty cool podcasts in their own right.
Mm-hmm. All kinds of stuff. You name it. Oh, man. And okay, let's just randomly pick a topic, movies. And actually, that was more random than I thought. But there are an unbelievable number of movie podcasts under the hashtag Pottern Family. And they are, just go search them up. It's from all over the place, from any part of this country, from several different places in the world. They just talk about movies. They're just movies. There's a ton of them. And that's just one topic. There are a bunch of great people out there doing a bunch of great podcasts. Check them out.
And they're nice enough to give us a little love, and we are doing our best to return that love. Thank you, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, of course, shout out to you, dear listeners. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for listening. We hope you've been enjoying these episodes as much as we've been enjoying recording them. Please feel free to send us feedback. Good, bad. You have some questions, please. We want to know. We'll do our best to answer them.
Yeah, this should be a two-way communication thing. I mean, admittedly, a podcast is pretty much a one-way communication thing, but we would very much like for it to be two-way, so holler at us.
Definitely. And you have several ways to do that. You can go to www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, go to our About Us page, and there is a form there that you can fill out, and we'll respond to you. You can always send us an email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. We have a Facebook page, The Fellowship of the Geeks. Find us there. We are obviously on Twitter as well, at Fellowship Geeks. Mikey has his own Twitter page, at Mikey Geek. You can go follow him there. And I have one as well, at TomTCGeek. Please feel free to follow me.
I don't know that we're going anywhere, but you can follow us.
Yeah. Well, we may be going around in circles, but hey.
That's pretty normal,
yeah. And of course, if you're downloading this off of iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play, please rate us. Please review us. It's much appreciated.
Yeah, it helps us out. It tells them, it gives them an idea that, well, honestly, that people are listening to us and that people are downloading us, people are interested, and so that helps us in whatever type of standings they happen to have.
Yep, exactly. Anything else before we sign off? I think that's it.
Yeah, if you want to ask us something about Amalgam or what other kind of weird and interesting comic book characters we've heard of or know about, holler at us. Shoot us a
If you
question.
have ideas, let us know.
Sure.
Yes, and if I'm not sure this is exactly what any topic ideas, something that you want us to discuss, please feel free to send it to us, and we will definitely bandy about and go, hey, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's talk about that. We're always open to that.
Mm-hmm.
Suggestions are always welcome. So, I guess that is it for this week, right?
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, for listening once again. It's much appreciated. Y'all take care. Have a good week. And until next time, read more comics and support your local stores. We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,